Alright, let's talk about expanding audio. Let's say you have a clip like this one, has some audio on it. Alright, and then we want to edit that along with this other clip that has some audio, but we want there to be a mix between the two so it doesn't just cut. And this is how we end up getting J and L cuts. We don't really usually want the audio and video to be cut at the same spot. We want to create an L shape or a J shape. So to do that, what we're going to do is click both of these, select both of them, and then right click and we can go to expand audio. So with expanded audio, now I can create a J or an L cut. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit on that, and let's say that I want the audio from this track to begin before this one ends. What I can do now is take that, move my audio back from that, slide this over so that it actually begins before that other shot ends. So I'm going to do it about like that. Alright, so let's play it. Okay, so here's how to make the Promethean board work. Alright, this is Promethean board. Alright, so now we're hearing the audio from this one, and because we're actually hearing this audio first, that's what we call a J cut, because it makes sort of a J shape here when you look at where the cuts are. We go down and go over. We could go the opposite direction as well. We could go with it this way, and then this audio doesn't start until it gets to here, and then now we've created an L shape with our cut. And so when you do that, it helps to hide the cuts, particularly when you're editing dialogue back and forth. This is an example of doing it between scenes, but when you do it with dialogue, it helps to hide the editing and creates what we call invisible editing, using those J and L cuts. Now, the nice thing about using that expand audio function is that when you do that, these things are still in sync. So if I decide to move this around, put it down here, they're still together. Now another option that you'll see in there when you right click is expand audio components. When you do that, you end up expanding the left and right tracks. So you can actually adjust the left and right tracks. So if for some reason you wanted the audio on this clip to come out of one side, you can adjust that there. Or let's say you recorded with two different microphones, and so you had different levels from the different microphones. You can adjust that there when you say expand audio and video components, and they still are in sync when you move them around. Alright, so then when you get done with that, you can say collapse audio components. So even if you have created a J or L cut and you collapse them, then the J and L cuts remain, even though when you collapse them, you won't be able to see them anymore. Now, one other option that you have in here is to detach the audio. When you detach the audio, that's if you just don't want the audio from this, you have removed it completely from that clip, and then you're using it somewhere else. So that is what detached audio is for, so it doesn't remain in sync. So keep those options in mind when you're editing. Alright, let's look at another tool, and that is the Built-In Equalizer. If you go over to the effects menu and go down to the audio effects, down here, you will see there's a section on equalizers. And so there are all kinds of different equalizers in here. A lot of these are presets for different kinds of things, for different kinds of effects that you might want to get. But you don't have to use that. You can, more often than not, you can just use the built-in equalizer that comes up here in the inspector. So we're in the inspector. Typically you're on the video section, you want to go over to the audio section, and right here we click audio. It brings up a graphic equalizer. Right, so let's say I've got this audio here. Alright, and that's way too loud. Okay, so let's say that I want that to sound muffled, like it's in the background. And so what I can do then is take my equalizer and just bring down the middle section of that. Let's see how that sounds. So what I've done is made it sound like it's in the background more, as opposed to being so loud. All right, let's say that I had a section that had a specific frequency that I was really trying to fine tune. I can change this from 10 bands to 31 bands. And so now, let's say I had a beeping in the background, I could go in and find approximately where that beeping is, and then just start pulling things down. Now the thing is, the more bands you have, the longer it takes to adjust those. So once you find the section that you want, you can actually select all of those, and then at that point you can move them all together, up and down. Alright, then we also have some presets here. So here it was originally set to flat. We can go ahead and just say I want to voice enhance this. Now it's going to undo the things that I just did for that clip. But what it's doing is it's boosting up the frequencies where my voice is. Or if I want to do music enhance, it's going to do the opposite. It's going to take the bass levels up, but it's actually going to bring the voice, the section where the human voice is, down a little bit, and then it's going to bring up the highs a little bit. Then we have hum reduction. If you get a hum from running your cable, your audio cable over a stinger or an electrical cord. So you have different presets that are within this little equalizer. So lots of times you don't need to go to the more complicated ones down here in the effects. You can just use this built-in equalizer right here. And let's look at one last thing here, and that's how to fade out on a clip. So most of you probably know that if you click down here, you get a fade dot. Now I want to fade it out. So if I go down here to the end, I have to hover here until this little fade dot comes up, and then from there I can then take it and move it down, and it's fading it out. Alright, now one thing a lot of people don't know though is that if you right click on it, you get different kinds of fade outs. So here you have linear, S-curve, 3 dB. S-curve is mainly going to work if you have a very long fade out, and it'll kind of ramp down and get a little bit quicker towards the end. So that can be nice if you're dealing with some music and you want to bring up some sound effects and have them come up louder after the music. That's a good option to use. Plus 3 dB works when you have a loop and you've got two pieces of music and you're trying to loop it together. Then doing a fade using the plus 3 dB makes that work better. So try that out next time you have a piece of music that you're trying to loop over and over again. And actually I never use the negative 3 dB. Those are some options that will make the fade sound a little more realistic.